start, then let me ask Betty from the PMT of the project to be able to offer some welcoming remarks and also introduction to the project. Karibu, Betty.
Thank you very much, Zach. And I want to say hello and good morning to everyone. And on behalf of CSO Network KIOS and Informaction, famously known as IFA, I want to extend a huge and sincere welcome to you and just express how happy we are to have you all join us today. So I'm extending this invitation to Turkana, Kericho, Narok, Laikipia, and Bungoma participants. Thank you for taking your time to be able to register and also for joining us. I think, let me just start by saying how we recognize the effort that goes into proposal writing or grant proposal development. And so today we are taking this opportunity to provide support by providing clarity and questions to help you in the development of your application. This project is being implemented by a consortium of 3 organizations, KIOS, which is the lead partner in this project, working in collaboration with 2 other partners, which is CSO Network and IFA. I'm sure when they introduce themselves, you'll be able to see who it is who will be talking and taking us through this process. The project we're implementing is a 4-year project under the banner Haki Ni Yetu, supported by the EU. It is operating in 15 counties, which is ASAL, Western Kenya, Coast, and Central. And it focuses on programs or actions that touch on governance, democracy, human rights, inclusion, equality, and equity. And we do this through 2 distinct connected pillars: a granting component by providing small and large grants. And today, of course, one of that component is the Small Grants Program. And then there's the capacity building component. As some of you have I think most of you have all benefited from the capacity building component, but of course, there's still others that follow. With me today, just as Zach had mentioned, I have got a great team who will help us break down our grant application process. And I want to take this opportunity to have the team introduce themselves. Let me start by KIOS and then IFA, and then of course we'll finalize by CSO Network. I'd like to, if it's okay for everybody from the consortium partners, if you just turn on your camera so that they will know who it is that they're talking to. It helps to have a face to the voice during the conversation. Over to KIOS.
Thank you, Betty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Annika Gosowski, and I work at the KIOS Foundation as a senior advisor. I'm in charge of the last grant scheme, but I'm here today to help you navigate the ASPICOR application system. Thank you.
Thank you, Annika. Do you have anybody from the team?
Oh, we have John here. John, please unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is John. I am an intern at KIOS, and I have been supporting both the large grants and the small grants team. Happy to see all of you.
All right. Thanks, John and Annika. IFA.
Yes, so good morning, everyone. My name is Winnie Wanjala. I work for the Haki Ni Yetu project as the deputy team lead. Happy to see all of you having joined and expressed interest in applying for our small grants. Karibuni.
Thank you, Winnie. Anybody else, Winnie? Do you have anybody else in the room?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Timothy Kimayo. I work with Inform Action. It's also good to see you all here. Asante.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
morning.
And sorry, Malkilina, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Malkilina. I'm the Small Grants Coordinator, and I'll be taking you through the guidelines. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Malkilina. And of course, finally, CSO Network.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Zach Gaya with CSO Network. I'm moderating the session today. Good to have you in this meeting.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Shadrach Wafula, in charge of comms and tech support here at CISO Network. Looking forward to a grateful day. Thank you.
Thank you, team. I really appreciate you being here. So, sorry, can we unmute? Can we mute for those who are not unmuted? This session is designed to be interactive, and we will begin by going through the grant guidelines and application process. However, the majority of our time is reserved for you, so this is an opportunity to ask questions, and of course, for us to provide the support needed to clarify about this application process. But having said that, you can also submit your questions at any time. Please use the chat function at the bottom and type it in there. We'll be monitoring closely, and we'll do our best to get as many questions as possible responded to before we wrap up. And I think now that you for the recording, please let us know so that we can share. So I want to just say thank you again. I appreciate the work that you do, but I would like now to hand over the session to Malkilina to take us through the presentation of the guidelines, after which she'll be able to introduce the next facilitator. Karibuni, and I hope we have a really interactive and good session. Thank you. Malkilina, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Betty. Allow me to share the screen. So yeah, mine is to take you through the guidelines, the call guidelines. However, this will be a nutshell because we shared comprehensive guideline documents with you via email and together with the first asked question. So this one will just go through the main points. So Betty has already taken us through the consortium members, through the project, and where we are currently working with the 15 counties. So already we have on board the small grantees already implementing in several counties. So for this call is only open to Narok, Turkana, Kericho, Laikipia, and Bungoma counties, and specifically for the organizations that attended our training and capacity building session. So this scheme, internally as Haki Ni Yetu, we refer to it as the small grant scheme. However, its official name, we call it Civic Action and Community Empowerment Grants. And basically, we are targeting the small grassroots organization that are working under the area advocating for human rights. And for this project, we are targeting 42. And currently on board, we have about 28 that are actively working. And this is the third call. We did the first call, the second call, and this is the third call. And the budget for these small grants is between euros 500 to 3,100. And if you put that in Kenya shillings, you'll get about 462,000. And it's actually managed by the consortium partners. So what are the objectives of the small grant scheme? So we are looking at to strengthen the capacity of the grassroots CBOs and organizations that are working to defend human rights. And also we work to encourage CBOs and the grassroots organization to meaningfully participate in holding the local and the national duty bearers accountable. So those are the two objectives of the small grant scheme. And as I've said earlier, this is the third open call for TNC participants organization. And that is the funding we are having currently. And the duration for implementation is between 3 to 4 because these are small action grants. So they're running for up to about 4 months. And the call is open and it is going to close around. Kindly let's mute ourselves so that we can be able to communicate. So the call is open. It was opened on 22nd of October, and it's going to close November 7th. So, and the counties that we are targeting is Narok, Kericho, Laikipia, Turkana, and Bungoma. So who can apply? So we are talking about the CBOs, the small CBOs in those mentioned counties who are non-profit, non-religious, non-governmental, that which are currently registered or not, we welcome. The civil society organizations are also welcome, and other grassroots civil society groups. So for this one, we are talking about women-led. 50% of our grants are usually going to the women-led organizations, specifically the women, the youth, and the marginalized group. So when we talk about the small grant scheme, we are talking about small local organizations that have an annual income below 2 million. So you will not be eligible to apply for this grant if your annual income is above 2 million Kenya shillings. So we will prove that because after this, we will do something we call the due diligence, and we'll come to your organization, to your offices to verify this. So we are saying that the only organization that attended the training and capacity building workshop in the respective counties, Narok, Kericho, Laikipia, Bungoma, and Turkana, are the ones who are eligible to apply for this grant. So who is non-eligible? We will not award this grant to individuals, to profit entities, organization, to religious community and churches, political parties, government organizations, international NGOs, organization with more than 2 million annual income of more than Kenya shilling 2 million. And also we are not going to award organization that has no presence or physical office in those target counties. So if you've not operated in Narok or Kericho or Laikipia or Bungoma, you do not have any physical presence there in those counties, we will not be able to grant you this grant. So we'll move to the eligible grant activities. So this one is clearly explained in the call guidelines, but I will take you through a few of the activities. This is not an exhaustive list. This is just an examples of activities that we are going to fund, we can fund in these grants. So as Haki Ni Yetu, we have 3 thematic areas, that is democracy and the rule of law, gender equality and non-discrimination, and business and human rights. So any activity, at least one that lies in these 3 thematic areas, they are welcomed. So activities around creating awareness and advocacy around human rights, providing legal assistance to individuals who are vulnerable, capacity building of duty bearers on fundamental human rights, capacity building of local human rights defenders, institutional development, dialogue between duty bearers and the human rights defenders. So that those are activities that can be funded in this grant. So how to apply? The application system, we are going to apply through the application system. No email, please. We are not going to accept email submission. All submission will go through the ASPICO granting system. And my colleague Annika will come and show you how to navigate through the system. So all application must go through the granting system. The mandatory attachment to your proposal is one, the grant budget. So if you're applying for a proposal, you need to give us the grant budget. And this grant budget needs to be activity-based. Like if you are settling to do like 3 activities, you need to break them down. We want to see if you are looking at doing an inception meeting with duty bearers or training of human rights defenders. We want to see in your budget that you have broken down the activity, the budget per activity. And please don't forget to do admin cost, because admin costs are the costs that enable us to run the project. So admin costs like petty cash, bank charges, at least don't forget to put that. So we have provided a template for the grant budget. However, it is not mandatory to use our budget, the template. You can use any Excel budget that you have. However, for the reference, the mandatory attachment is to reference, written reference. We have provided a template for this. So as you are submitting your proposal, your application, please don't forget to attach 2 written references using our template that has been provided. So this reference can be from other grants that you have worked with, but at least that they can show that you have been working in those community. So those are the mandatory attachments, and all the templates have been provided in the grants guideline, the call guidelines. You can be able to download. So the deadline for this application, I'll repeat, is 7th, and the application after the deadline will not be considered. So the evaluation process, all proposal will be evaluated by the small grants team. Yeah, we have internal team for the small grants that you're going to go through your proposal and do some long listing and short listing. So for the applicants who will be shortlisted, we are going to conduct the due diligence process, which include visiting your offices to ascertain what you had put in the proposal. So after the due diligence, we'll move to the co-creation, where we'll be able to now go through your proposal and just do a few of the revision to make it viable, or rather realistic in that. And then from that, we are going to present the grants to the Grants Evaluation and Selection Committee. This is a separate approval committee, which is not even within the Haki Ni Yetu, that they are going to do the final decision. So us is to recommend to the committee, and then the committee are the ones who are going to do the final selection. So as I said, this is a competitive process, and decisions are not only made under the Hacking Yetu project. We have an external committee that approves the grant. So thank you so much for the guidelines. That is all for the guidelines. I'll give this session to Annika to take us through the application process, and then we are going to take your questions after this. Thank you, and over to you, Annika.
Thank you, Malkilina. I will start sharing my screen. So here we go. So this is the application website. I will just also add it to the chat so you can access, but that's for later. Let's now go through the process together. So this is the grant portal. And first, you can see it's the Hacking Yetu grant portal. Welcome to the grant portal. First, you need to register. Before you can apply, you need to register. So you click here, register as grant applicant. And in order to register, you need to have a valid email address. So you need to first write your first name. So in my case, that would be Annika Gostovski. Then I will write my email address. I need to repeat that in order to make sure it's correct. So please double check. Your email address is very important because you will get all the information to this email address. You will also get the confirmation of your registration to this email address, and this email address is your username for the website. So make sure you write it correct. The phone number is not compulsory, so you don't need to put that, but then you need to create a password. See that it gives you the instruction that the password has to include at least 8 characters, including at least one number. So you need to create a password that has at least 8 characters and includes a number. So as long as it doesn't have enough characters, it will show you red, but it goes green. See here, it goes green once it has enough characters. There we go. And then we need to match this to make it, make sure that we have the password again. In case the fields do not match, it will tell you that they do not match and you need to start again. Yes, sorry, I need to mute you for everyone to be able to follow the session. And this is very important. So you need to accept that the personal data that you give, it will be saved to the register and used in the application decision-making process. So you need to accept this because you need to give consent that we can register your personal data. Otherwise, we cannot receive your application. You can access through this link our data protection policy, which is very important. It gives you the idea how we will use your data, who will have access, and how can you control the data. As always, we have this I'm not a robot check. So you need to be able to do basic maths just to make sure that you're not a robot. Oh, it's not letting me. Let me see this. Okay, now the password matches, and I can write here why it is not letting me. Let me see. Here we go. And then I can register. Once you register, this email address you have written here will receive an email that you will need to click to confirm registration. I already have registered with this email address, so I will not do it again. But in order to register, you click here and then you go to your inbox. Please allow it. It could take even up to half an hour, so it's not immediate. So make sure that when you start creating your application, you do the registration well in advance. It's important to note that you can come back to the application. You don't have to do it at once. So for example, if you, after this info session, you decide you will send an application to this grant proposal, you can register today. And so you make sure that the registration is done with by the time you start working on the application. So don't leave it to the last minute, but remember to register first, and then you can access the portal. So I will use my other credentials that I've created before. Oh, just a second. And actually, let's see if I remember my password. Okay, I don't. So we can also see how to reset password. So I forgot my password, so I'll need to reset that. So I will have an email coming to my email account that will allow me to reset my password. That will just take me a few minutes. Victor, please mute yourself. Thank you.
Annika, hi Annika.
Hi.
I'm just saying, are you able to mute everyone so that we can avoid unmuting, and then during the Q&A we can unmute everyone?
I'm not getting that opportunity now.
Okay.
Actually, but I'm muting people as they come. Let me see now. Yay. So now, once I've registered, once I've created my password, I can access the grant portal. Okay, I was in the wrong window, sorry. Here we go. So this is what the grant portal looks like once you've created your username and you've accessed. So very important here, notification. You can access the guidelines for applicants here and the FAQ documents. So before you start working on your application, it's very important that you go through the guidelines, because this is how you make sure that you have the most possible chances to get a grant. Because if you don't prepare the application with the corresponding obligatory references and budgets, then it's more difficult for you to get a grant. So just make sure to go through the guidelines. You can access them here, and make sure to read them carefully. They are quite clear and comprehensive, but in case you do have any questions about them, you can send an email to the team. So here you can access the budget template, you can access the reference template. Remember, the reference form is mandatory. You can access the FAQ document, and here you have our small grants team email address, which you can write to in case you have any problems during the application. And then once you're in and once you're ready to start preparing your application, you click here, make an application. So very easy. We click make an application, and then we need to select the right call. There is only one call open, so it's quite straightforward. The Civic Action and Community Empowerment Grant, small grant scheme that has opened last week, and it's open until the 7th of November. So we click this call and we click start. And then we get to the application form. So you can see here that the call ends in 10 days. So you have 10 days and 13 hours to submit. Please don't leave it to the last minute, as if there is a lot of requests to the web page, we cannot guarantee there won't be problems. We have used this for a few years and it has always worked, but just make sure to start early and not leave it to the last minute in case you have problems with the internet or something. There could be some challenges. So this application number is something that the system creates. You don't have to worry about that, but you need to start filling the application. So we will come up with, I will just use Kiosk Foundation test. This is my applicant organization name. So here you put the name of your CBO, youth group, or whatever group you're representing. And then you need to tell us what type of organization you are. So what is the legal status in case it is registered? It is not mandatory for the group to be registered, but in case it is, you can just check here. Is it a community-based organization? Is it other civil society organization, other grassroots civil society group, or other? So you can click here, the one that corresponds to your organization. In case your group does not fit any of this, you can click other and then explain here. So I will check CBO. Here you need to tell us the annual income for the past 2 years. So as we said, the guidelines set some limits to eligible applicant organization. So for example, for the year 2023, let's say my organization, my CBO's annual income was between 1 and 2 million Kenyan shillings. So I click this one. Annual income for 2024, let's say it was also between 1 and 2 million Kenyan shillings. We were not able to increase. So you just click here, the right option that matches your organization's annual income. Like Malkelina said earlier, we will check this in case your organization, your application is long-listed and shortlisted for further review. We will visit all applicants that are shortlisted before we give out any grants. So this will be checked during the application process. So make sure you do your best to check the correct option here. You should write here your address. So whatever it is, I'm using our Kiosk office address, that's in Finnish. Sorry, maybe confusing. This is not mandatory, but it's good if you can write the address. Maybe give another email address in case there is one. You can write it here. You can add website or social media pages, for example, if you want. So we can put here also our website as part of the application. It is not mandatory and you don't have to have a website, but anything you have, it's good if you can add the information. This is the information when I created my username. So when I did the registration, this is it comes, I cannot, it comes with the system, so it's already here. Here you should write your designation. So who's the one preparing the application? So in my case, it will be senior advisor. And here actually the phone number is compulsory. So we will need to add that. And then postal address. Okay, so here it is mandatory. Here up, it's not mandatory, but here you should be able to put all the information clearly. So I will even put our postal code, which I don't even remember now, but it's, let's say, Helsinki. Great. And then we move on. Important to know that if your internet connection is stable, the website will automatically save your application. So you don't have to finish it at once, but you have to go all the way down to save and continue. So it is possible. So one option, for example, is to just add some text here so that then you can save and continue. So you make sure that your application is saved during the process. But if we start filling the application itself, you see that the first question is, describe your organization, including the governance and leadership, mission, vision, and core activities. If you are registered, include the registration status. So you can write registered TPO since 2022, and then explain, for example, if you have a board, what is the mission, what is the vision, and anything you can share what your organization does. If you, like KIOS gives funding to human rights organizations, so I would write here, human rights funder, mandate to support human rights organizations, or whatever you can share that briefly describes your organization. You can write when it was established, by whom, which sub-county or which area, and what was the purpose of the organization. What does your organization do? So if you would need to describe your organization with just a few sentences, imagine that information here. Note that there are limits. So for example, here, a maximum of 2,500 characters is the limit, but it should be more than enough for you to provide the description of your organization. Then here you need to let us know whether you have a bank account or M-Pesa account. So it's important that you click the right option. Then we ask about your organization's leadership. So is it led by women? Is it led by youth? Is it led by a marginalized group? Is it led by men over 35 years? Because men under 35 would be included in youth. Or is it led by other? Here you can also describe if none of these match your organization, you can click led by other. Normally, led by women, it would mean that the director, the executive director, or the group coordinator would be a woman, or the board chair would be a woman, and the same goes for youth or marginalized group. So you can click whichever you feel best describes your organization. In the case of KIOS, our ED is over 35 and he is male, so I will click led by men. The county of operation, here you need to click the right county. This should be quite easy. Where do you work? Select one or more. Okay, sorry, the instruction is not updated, but let's say we work in Laikipia and we are based in Laikipia, so I will just check Laikipia. Make sure to check the right county. And as you can see, there are only 5 options because this call is only open for organizations from these 5 counties. Then the thematic focus, this is quite important. So the Haki Nieto thematic focuses are these 3. And the proposed action you want to do with this grant should match one of these. It's not necessary to match all the 3. Quite the contrary, we would like you to select one and propose activities that fit to one of the thematic areas. So just one. So if you work, let's say, promoting on good governance, human rights monitoring, or human rights training, you can click democracy and the rule of law. When you click, you get a small description that is also included in the guidelines. So if you're not really sure which one is the correct one, it is allowed to click more than one, of course, but most of the time, one should be enough. It depends a bit on your proposed action, but when you click, you can see a better description of what we mean. For example, business and human rights, it means promoting responsible business conduct, protection of human rights, for example, addressing human rights abuses created or carried out by business activities. It could be enhancing workers' rights or working on environmental justice, enhancing protecting the right to a clean and healthy, sustainable environment. So these are some of the things. Business and human rights, it does not mean creating, for example, income generating activities. That is not what we're looking for here. So just make sure you read. This is also included in the call guidelines, so you can do that before you start working on the proposal. Then you need to create a name for the project that you're looking for funding for. So let's say promoting women's rights in Laikipia County, because we are from Laikipia, so we'll work in Laikipia. So just somehow come up with a name that will describe your action. The duration, this is now limited to between 3 and 4 months. So you can write here for how many months you're planning to use for the proposed action to implement the project. We have a maximum of 4 months because the Hakiniatu project is coming to an end at the end of next year. So we consider that unfortunately this time it cannot be more than 4 months, but that should be more than enough to implement these kind of small grant activities. Here you should write the amount of funding you are applying for. So the most important thing is that your application and the budget is done in Kenyan shillings. So, for example, if you would first start from the budget and then you would include here. So let's say we will do about 450,000 Kenyan shillings. That is about 3,000 euros. So remember, the maximum is this between 500 and 3,100 euros. So our proposal is actually quite big. And then we will just write the date of the day that we have converted. This is not so important, and if the exchange rate fluctuates a bit, so the most important thing is that the budget is within the limits and you budget in Kenyan shillings, not in euros. Let's mute Maxwell. Yeah, so we can continue. Great. Then, what are the human rights issues your organization aims to address with the potential funding? Who are the rights holders and duty bearers? So this is very important that you describe as best as you can, what do you want to do with the potential funding? So who are the rights holders? So if we're working with women, they are women living in X sub-county, for example. This is just an example, but we describe, is it a town? Is it women working or living in a certain area? Is it women and girls? Is it, what are the human rights issues that we want to address? So it may be, for example, violence against women in one sub-county, and then who would be the duty bearers? So is it the police official? Is it the county officials, county commissioner? Who are the duty bearers that have the responsibility to protect the rights of those women and who work in the area? So it could be healthcare workers, or it could be county officials, or so just describe here what is the human rights violation or the problem that you want to work with. Again, the limit is 2,500 characters, so make sure to be concise. It should be more than enough for you to describe what you want to do. Then here, we would like to see a short summary of the proposal. So what are you going to do and why? So let's say we want to improve women's rights in Laikipia in one sub-county. And we will do it through human rights training. We will do it with community barasas, and we will do it with engaging with duty bearers. So it could be like, for example, 3 activities. So the idea is here that you give a short summary of what you are going to do. So in the first question, you say which is the issue you want to address. So not necessarily the whole grant or the project proposal, but just the problem that you want to address. Who are the rights holders and duty bearers? But here we would like to actually hear what is the total action you want to do, and what is the aim. What is the objective of your project? Then the next question is about the action you want to take. So you should list here activities. So activity 1, 2, 3. Let's say, for example, this is human rights training for women. This would be a community barasa in the sub-county, also inviting stakeholders, and then, like, let's say, duty bearer engagement. So, for example, the activities that you want to do, human rights training, make sure to write what you want to do and the objective. So to train 30 women on human rights, for example. And then the community barasa to create awareness, duty bearer engagement. Yeah. So just here, describe the action you want to do, the list of the activities and the objectives. Trying to see here if I'm going, how much time I have, if I'm being too slow. Yeah, I still have
saying if you have time, just proceed.
Yeah. And then what is the expected project outcome and results? So what do you want to achieve if you get the funding for these activities? So this is important that you describe. So we don't just do human rights training for the fun of it. We actually want to be able to get results. So what would be the outcome and results? What are we're planning to achieve with the activity? So this is important that you describe. Note that there's only 1,000 characters available. Then here we want you to describe any risks. So what would be the risk during implementation, and how would you mitigate this? Here you can describe all possible risks. There's not quite much space, but just you can write like maybe the 3 or 4 most important risks, and how do you mitigate? For example, lack of willingness from duty bearers to come. So you can say that you have already good relationships, and you aim to build trust with them through meetings, or work with the community leaders, or whatever is relevant for the activity you're planning to do. So please describe it here. And then we want to hear about your organization's administrative capacity to handle grant funding. So please describe briefly the financial management skills and systems, and share your sources of income for the past year's amount in donors. So it is not mandatory for you to have received donor funding before, but in case you have received, please mention it here. For example, last year, if you got a grant for 100,000 Kenyan shillings from donor X, please remember to include that information here. In case you are a membership organization and you receive funding through membership contribution, please also include that here. And then if you have, like, let's say you have one of the organization founders or volunteers or persons engaged is in charge of the financial management, and they have X years of experience, or they have a title from university or from a school or education or previous experience, just comment this here. So these are the main questions of the form. And once you're done, you click save and continue, and it will take you to the next phase. So the next phase is attachments. So here we can see the name of the title that we created and the requested funding. And then we need to add the 3 mandatory attachments. So 2 written references, fill in the kiosk form, and the budget for grant proposal. These 3 are mandatory. Note also that you need to use the reference template provided, so that if we go back to the call guidelines, you can find them here. So the proposed kiosk budget, you click here and it will, you can save it to your computer. And then the 2 written references, you click here and you can also save it to your computer. I will, if we have time, I will just show you quickly what they look like. But then you have to upload them here. So after you have received the reference, you upload it here. So you go okay, let me see. Okay, we may need to see what to do with that. The reference is too big, so I cannot now upload it. Okay, we'll go back to that. And the budget, these are obligatory. So you need to attach 2 references and 1 budget. If you have registration certificate, you can also add that. If you have statutes, if you have an annual report or audits or tax registration certificate or any additional, you can add, but these are not mandatory and this will not affect your application being long listed. It just gives us a better view of your experience and what you've been doing before. So in the small grants call, most organizations, they only stick to the obligatory annexes, and that is perfectly fine. So once you have added the annexes, let me see if I can just get some. Okay, I don't know why I'm having now some problem with the, this is new. I'm having some problem with getting the reference. Yeah, here. So now I was able reference 1, reference 2, and then we upload. So now you can see that we have the attachments have been included in the application. So once you see them down here, you can see that they are, if by error you have uploaded the wrong document, you can just click delete and then upload it again. And then we will add the budget. And it's here, the budget for grant proposal, it is here. You can even have a look at it and download it again if necessary, but make sure to attach the obligatory attachments. And then you click save and continue. So now you're in the summary page. So here you can see the attachments that you've been able to successfully annex to the application. And then this is very important. So before you send the application, you should read this and then click accept. So it means that you understand that your personal data is collected. You have read the data privacy policy of the Hakinietto. It's again available down here. And by submitting this application, you need to confirm that neither your organization or any member of the management is listed on the EU sanctions list, because we are using EU money, EU funding. This is very important that you're not on the EU sanctions list. And we need for you to give consent that we will do background screening against the EU sanction list. And also, in case your application is successful, you need to comply with the instructions and conditions set by the Hakinieto consortium. That those will, of course, be communicated to you in case you are successful and you get to the grant agreement signing phase. And you also need to give consent to the Hakinieto consortium to communicate in their communication channels your organization's name and basic information and what you're planning to do with the money. Once you're finished, you click here, send application. Please note that after you have sent the application, you cannot edit it. So in case I want to give it a few days or I need to check something in the budget, the application is now saved. So I can come back to this. After I click send application, I cannot come back to it. But before I do that, the information is now saved. I can log out, and when I log back in, I will be able to see what has already been saved on the form, and I can edit the information. But make sure that you only click send application after you've finished. Also, remember, after you've sent the application, you cannot amend it. And please don't leave this send application to the last minute, as said before. So we recommend that you do not leave it to the last day or last hours of the call. Please do it in advance. And I will just very quickly show you the templates so that you can see what they look like in case you haven't seen that yet. So before I close my part of the meeting, just give me a second, I will share. So this is the budget template. It's quite a simple Excel sheet. So it should state your organization's name, the title, so it means the name you gave to the project, activity duration, and then total activity budget. So the idea is that here you would list the cost. So as Malkilina said, let's say activity 1 is human rights training. So we could say, like, for example, we should break down the budget. So we would put here 1 human rights training, and then that would include like venue hire, transport, reimbursement for participants, refreshments, let's say, for example. And then the unit type, so whether it is like it's hall, hire 1, or let's say 1 day, and then how much it costs, what is the total, and then justification. So this is like venue hire for the training, for example. This is the budget. There is a cover which has more information and instructions on how to use. So this is very, very relevant information if you want to see how to use the budget template. As said, the budget templates, it's not compulsory, but this really helps you to make sure that you have all the relevant information in the budget. There is even an example here. You can see in the example sheet. So this is very useful information. And then just one more second, I will also show you what the reference looks like. So the reference, Hakinieto reference for applicants. So you should have at least 2 of these letters. It should have the title of the grant proposal. So this is the same, the title you give, the name you give to your project. So it goes here. So we had said for the example, it was women's rights in Laikipia. So we would have it here. And name of the applicant organization, GEOS Foundation, test. And then here is the information of the reference. So it's very important that you fill in these as well. And please note that this reference is for this grant proposal. So it means that this reference is given for this project you're applying funding for. It's not a reference only for your organization, but it's a reference for the proposal. It means that the person who is providing the reference should know what is your application like and what are you looking funding for. So we don't want the reference just to say, oh yeah, Annika is very professional and Kiosk Foundation has done this kind of work before, so we recommend them, but also to say, explain how you know, how the reference knows your organization, whether you've worked together before, and then also consider the proposed action. So this is why these questions are here. Is there a demand? So is there a problem with women's rights in Laikipia County, for example? We would like the referee to comment whether the applicant not only has the capacity to do what it wants to do, but if the grant proposal is realistic, is there a demand and what would be the risk? So, and finally, the reference has to provide the date and place and sign. This can be an online signature or then you can print it and they can sign it in person and then you can scan it or just photograph it to attach to the application. But yes, that would be all from me. So I'll stop sharing and I'll mute myself and I'll get it back to you, Zach. Thank you. Yeah, maybe Malkilina, you go. I don't know what happened to Zach.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll get him back in the session. So I don't know if Zach Shadrach, is Zach around? So meanwhile, as Zach is joining, I just wanted to let the applicants know that once you have submitted your application, you cannot edit. Please, before submitting your application, you cannot edit. However, as you are moving in the system, you can be saving your work, you can be editing your work. But once you submit, you click on submit application, you cannot edit. So please, before submitting your application, check that you have your 2 references, you have attached the budget, and you are okay with your proposal. Yeah, I wanted to put that across so that, because this is the system, and once you click submit, it submits and you cannot edit. Thank you. I don't know if Zach is back.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm back, Martina. We had a power glitch and I dropped off, but I'm back now.
Okay.
So thanks for that. And thank you, Annika, for elaborate presentation as before. I believe now that our team here is confident enough to be able now to navigate through that and to be able now to share their applications using the ASPICO. And also, just like, Malkina has been saying, they need to be able to ensure that you have the documentation ready before submitting, as she's just emphasized, that you cannot be able to edit once you have submitted. So that's important. So here we are now, and basically just to give you opportunity to be able now to ask questions that you have about the application process, so that everything is clear. And again, just
Have we lost Zach?
Yes, I'm sorry, Malkilina, but we seem to be having a power fluctuation, so it's gone off again. I think what we can suggest now is to perhaps allow the Q&A session to take over. so we can then be able to answer specific questions that come from the participants. If that's okay, we now are going to open the floor. So kindly, there are others that have been addressed on the chat platform, but we're now opening this up for everybody to be able to ask questions. Karibu.
Yeah, kindly raise your hand so that we make sure that only one person speaks at a time. But feel free to raise your hand and then present any questions you may have. You can also use the chat bot, the chat option for questions. I don't see any hands up. Maybe it was, oh, there we go. Okay, first, Mildred, please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. I have a concern. I've seen on the application only written 2023, 2024. Those who received the income for 2023, 2024. What about those who didn't receive income in 2023 and 2024, but 2025 received an income? Are we still eligible because maybe we received 1 million in 2025, but the other years we didn't receive any?
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Maybe I can go as we wait for Zach. Thank you. That's a really good question. Yes, you just click. So you select the first option between 0 and 500,000, your income in the first part for 2023 and 2024. And later down in the application, when you can describe your income for 2025, then you just put here the, in that section, you indicate what is the estimated income for 2025. The most important thing maybe at this point is to tell you that this application period is open until November 7, but none of these grants will be awarded this year. So you should not include the funding you are applying for within the estimated income for 2025, because after November 7, when we have received all the application, we will start the long listing and short listing. And then, as I said earlier, we will visit all the grantees. And by the time we have visited, we have shortlisted, we have done the due diligence, as we call it. So when we go to the applicant organization space and we check, we get to know you. By the time we have done all that, it will be 2026. So when you estimate your funding for 2025, do not include this application within that money. I hope that answers your question. And please, Janet, I think you are next. Janet?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janet from Axe Foundation, Kenya. I just wanted to find out more about the documents that you're supposed to attach. There is a section that it was mentioning around optional documents like attaching gender policies, finance policies. This is optional documents, but perhaps do we have to can we attach other policies that we have? Maybe not necessarily that what the other documents that already been mentioned there. Are we allowed to attach all the policies that we have?
Yeah, so you are allowed to attach the policies. It will give us the opportunity to get more information on your organization and experience, but they will not affect, so as they are not mandatory, so they will not affect the long listing. So in case you are long listed and short listed, of course, it helps us to get a better grasp of your organization, but because they're not mandatory and not all the organizations will have these in place, they will not affect the decision making. Most importantly, it's okay. Let me see how I can unmute. Who is this? David, please unmute mute yourself.
David.
So
Hello?
the most important thing is that you attach the obligatory annexes. Anything else you want to add, you are more than allowed to add. But as we target really grassroots, small organizations, we don't expect them to have all these documents.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's helpful.
Sorry again, guys. I've dropped off many times, but I'm back now. We had a power glitch, so I see Deborah has the hand up, and Achege and Janet, then Jacob. Let's go in that direction. Let's start with Deborah. Go ahead, Deborah.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Deborah Chikemoito-Wets from Kericho, Safe Steps Foundation, Kenya. Let me sincerely, first of all, thank you, KIOS, and the partners concerned for giving us this opportunity as the grassroots organization to have such a grant. Thank you also for taking us through the process of application, which it's really even making us to sharpen our application grants application processes. Thank you so much. So I have two questions concerning the presence of organizations in these counties. I saw there was a part that you were talking about having a physical office, and considering these organizations are really too small and maintaining a physical office can be a challenge. Would you maybe clarify if that is a must, and what do you really mean by saying the presence in that county? Number two is when you talk about
Ruto, please. David Ruto. Anika, are you able to mute him? Okay.
Okay.
Kindly, we said let's mute so that you speak when you give an opportunity to mute. Go ahead, Deborah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, so that was my first question. The second question is concerning the part of budgeting. I understand that there is a part that we need to consider administration cost. I would really want to get from you, do we have a certain percentage that you recommend so that it can also guide us during the budget making process? Then the last question is for the organizations that they have never received any grants directly, but however, maybe they have been invited to collaborate and partner with other consortiums, maybe to implement a project. How do we also maybe present our documentation so that we can be fit on that? I hope I'm clear. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are. You are very clear. And three questions you raised: the issue of the physical office and admin cost. What percentage are we talking about? And then what do we mean by admin cost? Then grants you have not had any funding at all. So let me ask, before I allow others to chime in, let me ask Anika and maybe Martina if you have some responses to the.
So thank you, Deborah, for the questions. Around the presses, we have talked about the presses stroke physical office. We understand grassroots organizations are working in a low budget, so you may not really have offices everywhere. However, you have a presses. Presses means that you operate in those counties. Even if you have an office in Narok, but at least you operate, maybe you don't have an office, but you operate in Narok. So that is what we mean by a presence in Narok. At least people know the work that you are doing there, you're working in the community, but even if you don't have a physical office, that is still fine. So on the second question about the budget, so under the admin cost, we allow about 20 to 25% of the grant to go to the admin cost. So admin cost will look like the utilities. You need to pay power, you need to have some water in the office. you need to pay some rent. Now, if you need to operate from an office, you need to pay rent. You need some airtime for bundles. So those are the admin costs that we are allowing. So between 20% to 25% of your budget should go to the admin cost. So I don't know, the other question was about?
They just like very nascent. They have not received any grant before. Are they still liable? Are still eligible for the
Yes, yes. If you have not received, actually, you are the one that we are targeting, because this one grants is meant for to boost, to build capacity of grassroots organization. So if you've not received any grant prior, that is still you are eligible to get this grant. Yes, so if you've worked with consortiums, with other organization, Mashinani Kule, you are still allowed. It's just how you're going to present your proposal and tell us you've been working with this and this organization and this was your role. Yeah, just put it in your proposal. You are welcome to submit your proposal. Over to you, Zach.
Thank you. Thank you for that response, Valkarina. We go to Achege Aaron. Please go ahead. Winnie, before that, yes. Winnie, you want to add something? Just before Achege, hold on a bit. Winnie, you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something to that, Zach. I know there are some grassroots organizations that partner with other organizations to do activities. Say you do a budget that you want to do, maybe a capacity building training, and then this partner will come and fund everything, but then support that activity. So there's also an opportunity for you to put that as funding that you have received. But then again, you will be very clear to say that this money did not come directly to us, but it's the partner who supported us to do this activity. So you should also be able to put that as part of your income for that year. I hope it's clear.
Thanks for that addition, Winnie. Yeah, I hope that's clear. Thanks for that addition, Winnie. Yeah, and as Achege comes, somebody's asking for a repeat of the process, and Annika said that this recording will be shared with you, so you can be able now to go through it again, just for your own understanding. So that's taken care of. Achege, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is again I'm Achege Adam. I work for Elemi Development Organization in Turkana County. First and foremost, I want to appreciate Kiosk, I don't know, Kiosk, for coming up with such a call, because as grassroots organizations, we've been disadvantaged by almost 99% of the calls that come out. And my first recommendation is kindly get more calls of such nature, because these are the calls that will nurture now the grassroots organizations. We will start from zero so that we're able to move somewhere. So my first question is we need to take care of, like when we talk about how do we take care of human rights, about women rights. As a Turkana community, we work in a community where we have traditional culture, we have cultural beliefs, we have cultural practices, norms that at some point we tend to ignore. When we come with rights, you will be able to conflict with some other leaders. Whereas I will wish you, when you'll be evaluating these programs, because for us we'll be doing a proposal based on the local setup, the traditional setup, especially in most of the remote areas, because our target is those communities that have not had access to such information. So how do we address the issue of culture? How do we brought, so that when we'll be doing this, when we'll be evaluating, because some of the things that we are going to put in our proposals that you might not have heard before, because most of our advocacy work has been within towns. We have been doing about policy, we have been doing about budgets, we have been advocating for this. But now when it comes to things to do with cultural practices, there is how we will wish to bring it. How do you consider, or how do you take dynamics from different from
Okay.
different dynamic groups, you know.
Yeah. Actually, was that the only question you had? I think we got a new. So basically it's you, because you're the one on the ground who knows the cultural dynamics. So it's how you're going to share that in your proposal. Then it can be it's you to propose. Then the team will be able now to review and then evaluate your proposal according to how you propose to do that. So that's really up to you on how you're going to share the most effective way you think you can be able to address the issue that you're talking about. Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
but lastly,
Uh-huh.
what I will really want to say is to appreciate the team for coming up with this call. This is the most viable call. Even the amount, when I look at the money, that is how you need to nurture. This is something you need to escalate it to senior other also donors or other partners. This is the only way you can be able to achieve good results or outcomes of your
Thank you.
money that you're going to give to small organization.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you for your appreciation. And that's the desire of this project, so that after this we're able now to be able now to apply for other major funding. So thanks for that. We appreciate the feedback. Okay, let's go to Jacob. Jacob, over to you. I think it's Jacob right here.
Yes, thank you so much, Zach. So I had several questions. My question first was on organizations that have not received grants before, but thank you. That is well answered. And now I'll proceed to the question on references, because I saw that you need to receive reference from previous organization that has offered grants to you. So in this case, if you don't have if you've never received any grants before, can you get a reference from other partners within the county, the county of operation that you've been working with? By that I mean maybe the county government departments or even other partners who are dealing closely with what you do. So I come from Narok, and I just wanted a clarification on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was responded to earlier, but Annika or Malika, do you want to also just to emphasize the issue of references? As I think reference, Jacob, what you're looking for is basically people who know you on the ground, that you exist. So it could, like you said, you rightly pointed out, county government or another organization that can vouch for you, that we know this organization on the ground. And I think it would be good if you can get one reference from the county government, like you mentioned, and then another one from the another organization. That should be sufficient. So yeah, so you don't have to look for an organization that that has been funded before. I hope that suffices, Jacob. Thank you. Let's go to Eric because of time. Eric, are you there? Okay, if Eric,
Yes,
okay, Eric, go ahead.
hello, I'm here. First, I want to thank you for this call. And I have only one question regarding the grassroots organization. I come from a group called Indigenous Peoples Forum from Narok. And we are dealing with quite complex issues of human rights, especially in regard to geothermal extraction by some power companies. My question is, this is our second year of existence, and I think when it comes to developing some up to best or up to best standards of proposals, we may be disadvantaged as grassroots organizations. I hereby maybe just put across maybe can you have maybe a flat review or maybe a flat because we know we are disadvantaged by putting up the best proposal, and we have very highly deep pressing issues. Maybe you can lower, maybe our view or my view is that maybe you should just have a flat rate for maybe grassroots organization, not to cap the budget at 3,100 euros. Maybe you can lower that to ensure that you maximize you reach more grassroots organizations that have deep pressing issues. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Eric, thanks for that. So basically, the issue is what you want to address, and you don't have to have like the donor language. Basically, just express according to the fields are shown there by Annika. Just say this is what you want to do, and just respond to those questions. And that's what I think they'll be looking at, and then I think on the other issue, when you want to respond again, when you go ahead.
Maybe I can just say quickly that the
Yes,
most
yes,
important
please.
thing is that you describe what you want to do and why. Like Zach said, we're not looking for the best donor language, so don't be afraid to just explain in your own words what is the problem. As you just said, what is the problem in your county in Narok and for your community? What is the human rights violation and how you want to address it? So
Yes.
that's more than enough. And we understand the limits and maybe gaps in experience, but I want you to rest assured that when we look at the long listing and short listing, we are more interested in seeing that you're able to express and provide a way, an action to address and clearly state what is the aim of that action. So it's quite basic. Yeah, sorry, Winnie, please.
Yeah.
So also I wanted to respond in terms of the budget, Eric, just to note that you might actually request for the maximum, but then again, when we come for the due diligence, we realize that, you have requested for too much for your budget. So this is just a guide as you apply. However, the amount might vary. What you request for during application might either go lower or go higher than what you initially requested for. So that is not the final.
Yeah, and
Thanks. I
maybe
hope
just
that's clear, Eric. Yes, go ahead,
take
Danica.
into consideration that if you have not received funding before, it is not likely that we will grant you 3,000 euros because it's more likely that you will get a smaller grant. So, I mean, the amount of funding you're requesting, it has to be kind of in the aligned with your organizational capacity. So if you have no previous experience in handling grant funds, it is likely that you will get a lower grant and not the maximum. That's why there is a bracket between 500 and 3,100 euros.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Annika. Thanks, Winnie, for sharing that. And Eric, you can lower your hand down. I hope it is clear now to you. You have confidence you can be able now to apply. You can lower your hand. Let's go to Kelvin. Kelvin, please.
Okay, I'm Kelvin from Laikipia. So I have 3 questions with me. The first one is, there are some organizations that have been offered a desk as an office by other organizations. So they are hosted by an organization and they have a desk. So is that still viable? Another thing is that when we talk about the administrative cost, and we are talking about a percentage of between 20 to 25%, but on it, you find that there are some funders whereby they regard others as disallowed costs, in terms of like you cannot buy computers, you cannot buy furniture. So there are some restrictions. You cannot buy motor vehicle in terms of administration cost. So this is a small funding, but we could have some other little things that maybe the administration cost is disallowed, but it's a good guidance for the 25% guideline. Another thing is that also we have organizations who have been funded by other organizations, and they have been receiving like the blanket of that amount of money you are talking about. But now, if you come to audit that organization, at least you find that could it be the bank statements, the audit accounts are still with the funders, the big organizations. So these are some of the challenges with the grassroots organizations. So how do we maneuver around that? An organization that collaborates with other big organizations and the activities are funded directly. So the money does not come to maybe the bank account of this grassroots organization. The bank account and those other financial records are with the big organizations, but they partner so well. They are in a consortium. So maybe how about those organizations? What document should they show?
Thank you. Thank you, Kelvin. we got in your question, 3 questions basically about hosted organizations. Are they eligible? I think that's been, yeah, it's been said it's okay as long as you exist in that particular county. The issue of admin cost and what maybe, and then this other thing, will they send you the money? I think that's the question. That will Akinia to send you the money? So maybe Annika, you can respond to that. And Marcelina, those 2 questions about, will they receive the money themselves, or will this money be administrated somewhere else? That's Kelvin's concern.
Maybe I can just, so Kelvin, in this case, like for example, that kind of organization that has that you have worked with and partnered with, that would be an excellent organization to give you a reference, so that they could also show you that you have experience in doing activities that are similar, but with their support. So that would be an excellent organization for referee. And then also describe that in the financial management. You can, in the part of the application form where we ask financial management and previous experience of working with donor funding, just describe this situation there as well. There is also an opportunity to use hosts for the small grants. So in case your organization does not have a bank account or any financial capacities, there may be an option to use like a fiscal host in this case as well.
Yeah, thank you, Annika, for that. So, Zach, allow me just to talk about the 20 to 25 admin cost. Yes, we allow, you can be able to purchase things like laptop, printer, which will enable you to work in this. But what we emphasize when it comes to budgeting is realism. You should be realistic and you should be reasonable. So please put them forward in your admin cost. During co-creation, we'll be able to see how best we can work around that.
Great. Thanks. And Kevin, I hope it's clear to you now. You're good to go. Let's move to Samuel. Samuel Lopetet, yes. Samuel. And can you allow us, and that just, we had planned to finish this by 11:30, but because we have questions, allow us just to see if we can be able now to pick up all the questions. Of course, it's important for people to be able to ask the question and get clarity. So in that, just submitting that together. Samuel, go ahead if you're there. Okay, Samuel seems not to be ready. Let's go to Bernard Rono. Bernard. Okay, Mutai.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have one question for the groups who are not registered. When it's come to now the account or M-Pesa that they are using to get the money, are they allowed to use a personal number or a personal account?
Okay, yeah, good question. And Malkina, this come out of your presentation. You say that they can be able now to either receive money through M-Pesa or through bank account. Kindly clarify. That's why Mutai is asking.
Yeah, so for the unregistered organization, we work with host. We'll need to identify a host who's going to host you with your financial. At the moment, we are not doing M-Pesa because of compliance issues and personal account. So if you emerge to be among the shortlisted one, we are going to work on the hosting arrangement for you. But being unregistered is not an issue. We have worked with unregistered organization and we can handle about the issues about the funding, the funds and compliance when we get there. Zach?
Yeah, and I hope also that they're able to, as we work with them, they're able to register so they can be able now to attract more funding. Yeah, so we want to work with you. Like you said, this is about capacity building, and that basically means so like taking from where you are to a different, level together. So I hope that's clear, Tai. So let's go to Samuel. You're back. Samuel, are you there?
Yes, I'm back.
Kindly, yes, please.
Zach, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. You are. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. First is to appreciate this moment that my organization is part of the conversation of a small grant. I have two questions. Samuel from Laikipia. Our main initiative and activity is about citizen activist journalism. So our work is about evidence-based advocacy through photography, small films that shows how the perpetrators do the vices, and also how we actually communicate our work. Like if it is about bad road, we show evidence by a film or a small photograph. So therefore, our tools of work involves something like a projector, maybe a smaller generator. Yeah, this is our tool of work, and probably a small camera that will do the work better. Again, our trainings are again evidence-based. Like we train our champions using a photograph that attracted attention, and they were able to achieve certain results. So that is how our work works in Laikipia. So therefore, my question would be, in the grant application proposal, under the equipment, are we allowed to acquire such equipment? The second question is about the human rights defenders in pertaining the duty bearers. Most of the time, perpetrators involves maybe government stalled projects. So here we have politicians. Sometimes we have the administration, the chief, and others, the teachers. So these people forms the basis of our reporting. So therefore, I'm trying to look at how in our trainings, who are these duty bearers that we are supposed to maybe bring on board or create awareness surrounding them. Again, the duty bearer seems to be part of the team, part of the perpetrators, part of the people causing the problems in the community. So basically the question is, those are the two questions that I had. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Like we said before, it's about what you want to do. That's what you propose, and that's what will be evaluated. So every application will be evaluated on its own merit. So just to propose what you want to do and how you want to do it. So if justification and the team feel that that's okay, then I think they'll go to evaluate that. Then again, the second question about the people want to be able to target on human rights issues. Since you propose if these guys are you identify they are the challenges and you want them to become allies. So you want to be able now to reach out to them. So basically just think about then propose, and then the team will be able now to evaluate based on what you have proposed. So I hope that is okay. So unless the team want to add something, Annika, Malkilina, and Winnie, to what Samuel has asked. Are you good? Okay, that's good. So thanks. I think the last hand I'm seeing here, two hands, then I think I'll call it a day. I'm seeing David and Kosencha and Kelvin. So let's start with David. Maybe you can wrap it up with Kelvin.
Okay, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my question is on, I didn't understand well how we can get the references. I saw the document being uploaded and then there was some places to be filled. Does it mean now we send the reference form to the person and then he will return it back, or how do we navigate around there.
Okay. Thanks. Annika and
Yeah.
Malklina?
I can go, thanks. That's a good question,
Yes.
David. So if you open the open call guidelines, you will find the link to the reference template. So ideally, you can send it by email to your referee, the one you have selected, and they can fill it in and then send it back to you so that you can upload it to the system when you submit your application. So that would be the best choice. You can download it from the call guidelines, share it with the potential referees, and then they will send it back to you for submission. So it goes through you.
Yeah. David, I hope that is clear. David, that's okay? It's clear?
Yeah, it is okay, but now it is a bit challenging, eh? Because now, suppose the reverence person does not reply. Do we have? I'm seeing it to be a bit challenging, but anyway, I think that's a condition, and it's given as an obligatory arrangement there. Then it means we have to struggle hard for that. Because sometimes maybe you have sent it to the person, and then he may not reply in time. But let's hope it will work well for
It's
most
on you
of
now
us.
to follow up so that. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's best
Thanks.
to call them first and agree that they will be able to provide the reference, and then just give them a deadline, only a few days, so that you get it in advance.
Yeah. And that's clear. And lastly, we see Kelvin's hand. Kelvin. Oh, yes, go ahead.
The hosted organizations, during your due diligence, would that also mean that you also come to the host so that at least you can have an evidence of what activities that this applicant organization was doing in the host? Because just like I said, we have organizations that have been hosted by other organizations who are the primary holders of the bank statements, the activities, the work plans and everything. So would also you need the host organizations also for due diligence during your field, or for your coming to the field to see what the organizations are doing?
Great. Good question, Kelvin. So just to respond to that, when the team will be doing the due diligence visit, they'll have to come to a place where they can meet the applicant. And so if you not have an office, then it could be like, your host organization's office. So that basically means that they'll have to meet them, and basically they'll talk with the host organization and also talk with you. So means that they'll be met also. The host organization shall also be met during the due diligence. Okay, Bernard, you came back. Bernard. Bernard, there's a challenge with your mic, so we're not able to hear you. David, we had given you opportunity before. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Zach, Anita, and the kiosk and the info action for organizing this very nice proceeding. I'm from North County. I'm a PWD person. The proceeding is going on well. But my question is it advisable for us to use the grant for investment, because we are facing so many challenges in the ground, especially when visiting the public participation or attending public participation as PWDs. And the big reason is that we don't have, or we might not get the means of transport. So I was asking whether our grants, if granted, we can invest for future. Number two, we have been left as PWD. Even in our proceeding today, I have never heard anybody mentioning about the PWDs. It's only the women empowerment, the youth empowerment, but PWDs have been left behind, as well as in the government occasion. So as PWDs or a PWD representative, I'm actually urging if the organization will actually work with us hand in hand, because we are the most people suffering in the grassroots, and we have our groups which are very, very, very small and minimal in the ground. So therefore, I was asking whether the grant will be invested for future use. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, David. I'll allow my colleagues to respond to the question of whether the grant can be invested if they win it, and the other questions about the PWD. When you introduced the Akinia tool, the thematic areas, one of them is promoting of equality and discrimination, which basically covers the people we talked about, like people with disabilities. So they cover in this project. So if you have a project that you feel like you want to maybe to promote the mainstreaming or integration, then go ahead kindly and propose that. So as this project is also about ensuring that we're promoting inclusion. So that's part of this project. So if you have a project that's targeting people with disability, so please go ahead and propose that. So let me allow my colleagues to talk about whether it's possible, if it's allowable to invest the funds to receive from these grants. Annika and Clina?
No, it's not possible to invest the funds. And I mean, it's a really short time of implementation as well. And the funds will not be dispersed to you at once, 100%. They will be dispersed in installments. So for all the grants, the grantee organizations will have to report regularly and provide a written narrative report halfway to grant implementation and financial report, and only then will the rest of the funds will be dispersed. So yeah, investment is not possible.
Yeah. So Zach, maybe I can add something.
Yes.
So for David, you can look at around activities around creating awareness around PWDs. Actually, in the 50% women-led, youth-led, marginalized, PWD is there. We actually prioritize by giving them 50% of our grants goes to women, youth, PWDs, and marginalized community. So in your proposal, though we may not invest, you may not be required to invest the money. However, you can look at activities such as, creating awareness around rights, PWD rights, trading, having champions, training champions around PWDs. So look around those areas, not necessarily investing. Yeah. Zach?
Yeah. David, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Great. I don't see any other hand, friends. Like Annika said, that this recording will be shared again in a few days' time for you to be able now with your team just to be able to look through at your own pace, and then that way. And then again, there's email option. If you have any other questions, you can still reach out, and then you can be able now to get your query responded to. But just to encourage you guys that this is grants there to be able to help you, like it was said by the other people here, that this is a very good opportunity for small organizations. So yes, please go ahead and put your best foot forward, and the idea that those who will be selected will continue to get capacity building. So again, is to be able to help you to grow. You can say so that can do now to maybe to apply for other funding in the future. So maybe before we wrap it up, maybe there's some last word from Annika and Winnie and Annika before we wrap it up. Fred is asking, what are those organizations? What are organizations that may have had a budget of 2 million in the past but currently operating below? Annika, any response to that question?
Yeah, it's actually on average. So I think the guidelines specify that it's on average. So the idea is that even though one year you would have had more but then for the next year less. So it is considered. So if you go through the guidelines who are non-eligible, it actually says that average annual income of more than 2 million for 2 consecutive years. So even though, let's say for 2023, it was above 2 million, but for 2024, it was below, you would still be eligible. So yeah, just read through the call guidelines very carefully. That's what we recommend. Thank you. Thanks all for participating on my behalf, and thanks for the great questions as well.
All right. Thanks, Annika. Malkilina?
So yeah, my parting shot to the applicants is that we prepared an FAQ document. So most of the things that you're asking here are actually in the FAQs. I kindly urge that you go through the FAQ documents. You will be able to get more information about this. Yeah, so thank you, and I wish you all the best in your application.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks, Annika. Thanks, Malkilina. I know that Winnie is still in, and I want also to thank Betty, also who opened the meeting for us, and just to wish you guys all the best. And Annika has connected and shared the FAQ document on the chat, so you can click on that link, and then you can be able to get it. But again, like if you still have some questions, go ahead and use the email that was provided on the call document, and then you can be able to get your question answered. All the best to you. Remember again that the deadline was the 7th, so you have a few days to work with and put your best foot forward. All the best and have a good day, everyone. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you.